Hello and welcome to the Student Union and Event Services portion of the RSO Leader Training. Throughout the presentation, you will hear me use the acronym SUES, which refers to the Student Union and Event Services Office. Student Union and Event Services is located in the UNLV Student Union on the 3rd floor in room 315. Our contact information is listed on the screen, and we can be reached during business hours 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. If you leave us a message or email outside of those hours and days, we will be able to get back to you as soon as possible on the next available business day. Our department website is also listed on the screen here, in which you can find access to our reservation forms, some of our notable policies, and other information surrounding the Student Union and Event Services Office. The purpose of this training is to familiarize RSO leaders with SUES and our policies and procedures to ensure that your events on campus are planned successfully. We will cover the following topics: spaces the SUES manages, the reservation process, our pricing and fee structures, and some of our notable policies. To get us started off with SUES managed spaces, we will take a look at the reservable SU indoor spaces. The SU offers a variety of spaces with varying capacities and setups to help accommodate your reservations. The reservable spaces include the ballroom located on the 2nd floor, which is our largest space. It can be broken down into 3 sections by movable air walls, or it can be left open as a whole. The Philip J. Cohen Theater, located on the 1st floor, offers stationary theater seating with a stage and curtain. Something to note about this space is that there is no food or beverage permitted, so if you would like to host an event in this space and are planning to have food and beverage, an additional meeting room will need to be reserved alongside it. There is also a variety of conference rooms located on the 2nd floor that can be reserved. Conference Room 208 is our meeting space most comparable to the ballroom, and that it can hold a larger number of attendees. Although slightly smaller than the ballroom, 208 also is equipped with air walls that can be opened or closed to break the space down into 3 sections or left whole. Lastly, the 1st floor of the Student Union is not reservable during fall and spring semesters. However, it can be reserved during breaks with approval from SUES, and the eating bar located under the red stairs is reservable year-round. Later in our presentation, we will discuss space capacities and layouts that we offer. SUES also manages some of the outdoor spaces on campus, including PIDA Plaza, the SU Courtyard, Alumni Amphitheater, SRWC Lawn, Academic Mall, Chem Lawn, and the intramural fields. Some of the outdoor spaces go offline during the year to allow grounds to maintain the grass and complete reseeding. This time frame is typically November through April. Outdoor events will be assigned to an event coordinator with our office, as they will need to ensure campus notifications are properly completed for outdoor gatherings. We also reserve space within the Student Recreation and Wellness Center. This includes the 2 meeting rooms on the 1st floor, the MAC courts located on the 1st floor, the basketball courts located on the 3rd floor, and the swimming pool. It's important to note that there may be additional staffing fees associated with reservations in the swimming pool, depending on the number of lifeguarding staff required for the event attendee count. Events that take place in spaces past the turnstile at the SRWC front desk will require presentation of student ID or membership card. If attendees do not have a student ID or membership card, they will need to purchase a day pass to enter the facility. Other spaces that we reserve on campus include academic classrooms. Academic classrooms can be reserved through our office only for non-academic related events or purposes. We reserve some spaces within BEH, CBC, WRI, GUA, TBE, HOS, HEA, BHS, CEB, and FDH. Reservations for classrooms will not be processed until approximately the second week of the semester in which the reservation is for. This is to allow the registrar to finalize academic class schedules. It's important to note that some classroom spaces come with stationary seating that cannot be rearranged. If you are looking for a classroom specifically with movable seating, please indicate so on your reservation request form. Classrooms come equipped with tables, chairs, and standard AV equipment such as a computer, projector, and screen. If you would like any additional equipment outside of the standards of a classroom, an equipment loan request will need to be submitted to our office. SUES also offers marketing opportunities within the student union, across campus, and in the SRWC. This includes indoor and outdoor banners, table tents, television ads, marketing tables, window painting, elevator and bathroom ads, and donation boxes. Most of these marketing opportunities run from Sunday through Saturday, with the exception of TV ads, which can run up to any 7 consecutive days, and marketing tables, which can be reserved within the location's building hours. Student organizations are responsible for the printing, drop-off, and pick-up of marketing materials. Materials for marketing reservations that run Sunday through Saturday should be dropped off to the SUES front desk by the Friday prior to the reservation start date. Now we will cover important aspects of the reservation process, starting with reservation request timelines. The amount of advance notice for a reservation request will depend on the size and scope of the event. These deadlines are set in place to ensure that our office has sufficient time to effectively fulfill its role in the event planning process. For large-scale and outdoor events, 25 business days advance notice is required. This allows our office sufficient time to assign an event coordinator and to submit campus notifications for the event, such as communications with grounds, risk management, parking, outside vendors, and so on. Small and medium event requests must be submitted at least 3 business days in advance to allow our department proper time to process the request and to be prepared to set the room. Cancellation requests must be submitted at least 7 business days prior to the event date in order to not incur a penalty or a fee. Change requests must be submitted at least 24 hours in advance in order to give our staff sufficient time to process the request and prepare for any updates to the setup of the space. Scheduling liaisons are another important aspect of the reservation process. In order to reserve space with our office, you must be listed as the scheduling liaison on your organization's Involvement Center page. This is to ensure that verified and permitted individuals are reserving space on the organization's behalf. The primary contact on a reservation must be one of the listed scheduling liaisons for the organization. However, the secondary contact may be any individual within the organization, or in the event of partnership, any individual associated with the planning of the event. If the primary contact on a reservation request is not listed as a scheduling liaison, SUES will not continue processing the request until a new primary contact that is a scheduling liaison is provided, or updates to your organization's scheduling liaisons have been made in the Involvement Center. Each organization can have up to 2 scheduling liaisons listed in their Involvement Center page. If you would like to make updates to your Involvement Center page or scheduling liaisons, please contact the Student Involvement and Activities Office. Perhaps the most important aspect of the reservation process is the submission of an online reservation form. All of our reservation forms are located on our website at unlv.edu/eventservices/forms. The forms include the following: the General Reservation Request Form, which allows you to reserve space in the SU, SRWC, and outdoor space on campus. The Marketing Reservation Request Form, which allows you to reserve the marketing opportunities previously mentioned within this presentation. The General Purpose Classroom Request Form, which allows you to reserve academic classrooms. The Change/Cancellation Form, which allows you to make updates to an existing reservation. And the Equipment Loan, Checkout, and Rental Form, which allows you to reserve the following: equipment loans, which SUES delivers to on-campus locations for a delivery fee and 50% of the cost of the equipment. Equipment rentals, which SUES delivers to on-campus locations. Equipment rentals are reserved through third-party vendors, so no discounts are applied and the full at-cost rate is applied along with a 12% management fee. And last but not least, equipment checkouts, which the reserving party is responsible for pickup and drop-off of the equipment for a checkout fee and 50% off the cost of the equipment. Now we will cover some important items to remember when completing reservation requests. Please be sure to include as much and as accurate information as possible when completing request forms. This allows our team to most accurately build the reservation and to anticipate the needs of the event. Provide alternative dates if possible. There is a high demand for reserving space within the student union and outdoor locations, so space is limited and availability cannot be guaranteed for any select date. Providing alternatives gives our team some flexibility when processing requests and minimizes the amount of time communicating back and forth regarding availability and event details. Please remember that submitting a reservation request or speaking with SUES about availability does not guarantee your reservation. A reservation is not guaranteed or confirmed until a reservation summary has been received, as additional information may be required or availability may have changed as we are processing a high volume of requests at once. Additional forms may need to be submitted depending on the event needs or requests. Now we will cover some of the most common room layouts and capacities, starting with the hollow square setup. As the name suggests, in hollow square setup, the tables are arranged in a square formation. Within this setup, either 2 to 3 chairs can be configured at each table. Similar to the hollow square setup, the horseshoe setup configures tables into a U shape. 2 to 3 chairs can be configured at each table in this setup as well. In king table setup, 2 rectangular tables are placed next to each other to create a larger table. Within this setup, either 2 or 3 chairs can be configured at each side of the larger table. We also offer circular tables, which can be configured with 6 chairs at each for crescent rounds of 6, or with 8 chairs at each for traditional rounds of 8. King table setup can also be configured in a crescent style setup, meaning that the 2 rectangular tables will still be pushed together to create a larger table, but one side will be left open without chairs. Again, 2 to 3 chairs can be configured at each side of the larger table in this setup. Theater setup often allows for the largest maximum capacity of a room, as it does not require any tables. Chairs are configured in rows and columns within this setup. Classroom seating arranges thinner rectangular tables in rows and columns, allowing for up to 3 chairs at each table. Custom setups can also be arranged with our office, for which a diagram can be created. If you are interested in a custom setup for your event, please try to describe the setup as clear as possible on your request form or provide a mock diagram that our team can replicate. The next topic that we will cover is our fee and pricing structure. SUES utilizes tiers to identify the appropriate fees and discounts to be applied to all reservations. Tiers and associated fees/discounts are prioritized by who we serve and where our funding comes from. For example, student fees, student organizations, university goals, and initiatives. Any events that change in nature during the planning process will be adjusted accordingly to the corresponding tier, whether to a lower or higher tier, and any group that misrepresents itself will be assigned the appropriate tier. Tier 1 is the most common tier that student organization events will fall under. This tier includes a 100% discount on room rental, a 100% discount on setup and AV equipment, and a 75% discount on specialty items. Depending on the size and scope of the event, events within this tier may be subject to a 12% management fee. In order to fall into this tier, all of the listed requirements and criteria must be met. If the criteria are not met, the event will move into another tier. Tier 2 is applicable to an event when a student organization is partnering with a UNLV department to plan, execute, or pay for an event. This tier includes a 90% discount on a room rental and a 75% discount on setup, AV, and specialty equipment. Again, depending on the size and scope of the event, events within this tier may be subject to a 12% management fee. In order to fall into this tier, all of the listed requirements and criteria must be met. If the criteria are not met, the event will move to another tier. Tier 3 is applicable to an event when a student organization is partnering with an external non-UNLV entity to plan, execute, or pay for an event. This tier includes a 50% discount on room rental and a 75% discount on setup, AV, and specialty equipment. Again, depending on the size and scope of the event, events within this tier may be subject to a 12% management fee. In order to fall into this tier, all of the listed requirements and criteria must be met. If the criteria are not met, the event will move into another tier. There are two additional tiers which SUES uses to classify events, Tier 4 and Tier 5. These tiers are for nonprofit organizations and fully external entities, respectively, so neither will be applicable for student organization events. The tier structure is applicable to several other reservation types with SUES. Equipment loans that fall under Tier 1 through 3 will receive a 50% discount on equipment and will incur a delivery fee that depends on the size and scope of the loan. As mentioned earlier in the presentation, equipment rentals do not receive a discount as they are charged at the vendor retail rate. A 12% management fee will be assessed to all rental requests. Most student organization marketing requests will fall into Tier 1, which receives a 100% discount. However, the student organization is responsible for the cost and printing of the marketing materials themselves. Academic classroom reservations abide by the tier structure as well. Tier 1 classroom requests will receive a 100% discount. Additional charges may apply if additional equipment is requested in a classroom space, which will fall under an equipment loan discounting structure. Now we will discuss priority scheduling and how it is beneficial for your organization. SUES reserves space on an academic calendar basis. Because there is such a high demand for space, SUES limits reservations to be made only for the next upcoming year. Once a year, around spring break, priority scheduling opens to begin reserving space for that upcoming academic year. This is a month-long process that is a first chance opportunity for student organizations to reserve space and marketing for the upcoming academic year, as they are given priority over departments and external entities during this time. The first 2 weeks of priority scheduling will be exclusive to student organizations and that no department or external requests will be processed during this time. During the third week, SUES will still accept reservations from student organizations. However, they will be placed in the queue alongside departmental requests, which are also accepted during this time. After the third week concludes, the reservation process for external entities will open as well. In order to prepare for priority scheduling, please make sure that your organization's scheduling liaisons are up to date in the Involvement Center, and at least one contact on the reservation will remain within the organization by the date of the event. Now we will cover some of SUES' most notable policies, starting with the late cancellation, late show, and no-show policy. Because there is such a high demand for space within our facilities, SUES abides by a tracking process to ensure that reserved space is being utilized. If an organization cancels an event last minute, does not show up to their reservation, or arrives late to their reservation, they will be subject to this process. For reservations that are not assigned an event coordinator, the first occurrence of a no-show or late cancellation will result in a letter of warning. The second occurrence of a no-show or late cancellation will result in a letter of warning and a $100 fee. And the third occurrence of a no-show or late cancellation will result in a letter of warning, a $200 fee, and the suspension of reservation privileges for the remainder of the semester as well as the following semester. Late arrivals will incur a $40 fee per occurrence. Offenses for this policy reset every semester, meaning that at the beginning of each academic semester, each organization will begin with 0 infractions. Student organizations will have the opportunity to provide proof or evidence of event attendance. However, it is at the discretion of SUES on how to proceed. For reservations that are assigned to an event coordinator, the infraction process is a bit different, as these events tend to be larger scale and require more significant coordination and communication in order for our office to carry out its role. Reservations with an assigned event coordinator who do not respond to communications from the event coordinator and/or fail to meet and provide sufficient information in order for SUES to carry out its role prior to 16 business days of the event start date shall have their event canceled and be responsible for a cancellation fee of $100 per space. Late arrivals will adhere to the outlined steps for reservations that are not assigned an event coordinator. Each student organization is allowed up to 2 recurring reservations per semester. As additional campus notifications need to be completed for high-profile individuals and media presence on campus, SUES requests that any presenters, speakers, or media involvement in events is declared to our office at least 15 business days prior to the event start date. This concludes the SUES portion of the RSO Leader Training. Thank you for your time. If you have any additional questions, our contact information is listed on the screen, as well as our departmental website. Please do not hesitate to contact us or stop by our office, and we will be happy to assist.